Hello everybody. I am here with a how-to video today. We are going to talk a little bit about struts. These guys, well, this is actually a strut assembly, so it's got our gas strut here, the yellow guy, and then a big old beefy spring. This was off a Toyota Tacoma, a top hat, and a retaining nut here. And one of the great things about using our shop here at Dance Community Garage is that you get access to a lot of tools. And one of them is this Branick spring compressor. We've got a 7400 here. Up in Everett, we have a 7600. Don't ask me what the difference is. One of them is definitely newer though, and it's not this one. But with all that being said, I want to walk you guys through real quick how to use this tool. It's not something that you're ever going to find at a parts store where you can rent tools. All you're going to find there are those kind of bolt-on widowmakers, we like to call them, because they're super dangerous and they can break and hurt you really bad. So we're going to talk about using this wall-mounted unit. This is a lot safer. And we'll go through compressing a spring, removing the top hat off of a strut assembly, which I've got here in my hands. And then we will walk through how you would service your strut. Because really, honestly, unless you're doing some really crazy off-roading, guys, these springs, these are beefy. These are thick. These are like 1/2-inch thick diameter springs on this truck one. They might be smaller if you got a car, but they're just big coiled pieces of metal. So they don't really wear out that fast. The thing that wears out is the pressurized gas or hydraulics in your strut. And that's what causes your bouncing or maybe some funny noise when you're driving or hitting the brakes or something like that. These are expensive. These guys, pretty cheap. So if you can disassemble it and put a new one in, you can save yourself a lot of money. So let's get at it. All right, so the first thing we want to do once we have our spring assembly over here by our tool, our spring compressor, we just want to pull all these little arms out so that we can set our assembly inside. The ones on the top we want to pull out, the ones on the bottom, we're going to want to make sure that those are in a little bit so that we can set our spring on something. And what these are going to do is they're going to hook on the spring itself. So as we place this in here, we're going to be a little bit, I don't know, annoyed, I guess, as we try to line this thing up. But if you are lucky, you can get a couple of them to hold. And now you can see right down here, this one, I've got this guy sitting on this coil in the back. It's the same coil, just a little lower. And this one I actually want to sit up a little higher because it'll be hard for me to get this prong in between the base of the assembly here and that bottom spring. So I want to sit on this one. And so we're going to adjust this bottom nut here, and that's going to bring this guy up until we can push it in. Now we got the bottom. We can go ahead and set our top here. So these are all a little too high. We can see that we're not really grabbing any springs here. We should really probably be grabbing it here or here. So these are adjustable as well. We can pop these out, move them up and down. They're not quite as adjustable as they are on the bottom, but these are already adjusted almost all the way down with these little slide pin adjustments here. Hang on, I'm gonna get the phone. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we're back, guys. All right, so we need to bring these down a little bit, right? So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna spin this guy until they start to line up. And I think we're gonna go for the next one down. There's a little more space in between those coils. Just spin that, maybe one more. Okay, we're in there. So before we put any tension on it, I wanna go ahead and set the rest of these little arms here. So this one is gonna need to come up a little bit in the back. And this is all just a little bit of trial and error, guys. There's not really a formula here. It's not like a set spec for individual cars. So don't be afraid if it takes you a couple of tries. That's just working on cars. Okay, so, oh geez. All right, so I've got all of these arms touching now. You can see they are nicely set on the spring. Same thing in the back, even if you can't see that. So now we're ready to start compressing it. So all we need to do is spin this big big screw arm up here on the top. And now we're going to start feeling it. It's going to take a little bit of force, especially on a big spring like this. But you really don't need too much. You just need to bring that spring down maybe like 1/2 inch at most. So, twist, twist, twist. And then at some point here, we might actually be able to see some daylight in between that top spring and the top hat. We have a little bit of an issue here. The stud here on the top of the strut assembly is actually binding against our tool, our spring compressor. And that means we need to be grabbing from this higher spring. We can't grab this low. We need to move the assembly up and grab a little bit higher. So we're gonna have to unscrew this, we'll reset it, and we'll try again. Wow, okay, well forgive me if I'm a little bit sweaty, guys. This space here was so tight that these pins took quite a little bit of persuading. It took me probably 10 minutes just to get those lined up, but now we can see that all 3 arms are in the right spot. They're each touching and holding a spring nicely. We had to make some adjustments here as well. Probably did this like 3 times. So just like with anything with fixing a car, you know, a little bit of patience goes a long way. So we are now ready to compress the thing. If we want to spin this the right way. Lefty loosey, righty tighty, that's what they tell me. Compress this, keep an eye on our arms while we're doing this, make sure nothing's moving. Really feeling it now. All right. So I've definitely taken the spring tension off. I don't see much in the way of a gap here all the way around. I definitely have some amount of gap, but I can spin this now by hand, which means there's not really much in the way of tension. The spring is not kind of holding it in place. So I'm going to go ahead and get a wrench and maybe even something to hold this, this stud here, and we'll see if we can start taking this guy off. We don't have a lot of space here, but it should be enough for us to work with. Okay, we're back, guys. We got a little adjustable wrench here that's going to help us hold our stud up top. And then we've got some offset wrenches that we're going to use. This will just kind of put our wrenching position down and away from that nut so that we can access it a little bit easier. I'm going to hazard a guess that that is a 16 or 17. It is a 17. So if you see here, as we try and spin it, the stud is just spinning with us. So let's go ahead and counter hold that stud with our adjustable wrench here. And all the while, we need to be really, just really aware that this spring is under considerable tension. And if things start to slip, it could go pretty bad for us. So we're just gonna make sure that we pay attention while we're doing this. And if anything moves, we're gonna get out of here in a hurry. Slowly work at this. If we had like a pass-through socket set, which we do, I was just too lazy to grab. This would probably go a little bit quicker. Sometimes if you can get an impact in here as well, you don't even need to hold the stud, but you can absolutely ruin the seals on a new shock by spinning it inside the shock housing with an impact. So be careful if you're doing that on new parts. Old parts, obviously, we care a little less about. I don't know about you guys, but it's 86 degrees here in Seattle today. Us Pacific Northwesterners, we are not used to this kind of heat. So you gotta forgive the sweaty mechanic over here. All right, so we've got this nut here to the point where we can spin it without that center stud spinning. So we are just about home free. And just be careful when this gets to the last start. It might still be under a little bit of tension. If so, be wary. It might pop a little bit if you haven't got your spring compressed all the way. so that it's not touching. This feels pretty easy to turn, so I don't think it's under any tension, but these are famous last words. Honestly, I should have come in here with a speed wrench. I've got lots of speed wrenches. I don't know why I didn't grab one. Okay, we are loose. Got our big nut, our big washer off. Nothing popped at us. This is a little bushing so that when you bottom out, it doesn't just go metal on metal. And now you can see our strut, our actual gas strut, has fallen out the bottom. So if you were a smart guy, smarter than me at least, you would have already ordered new parts and you could just slot them right in there and go home. I didn't do that, so we're just doing this for the video. So we're not going to be putting anything new in there today, but I wanted to show you. We also have our top hat assembly, so this is the thing that kind of holds the whole assembly together. These often will have a bearing at the top. This seems like it doesn't, it's just got a little piece of rubber up in there. But these bearings can go bad, so if you feel your little bit of clunking when you're turning left and right, or a bit of noise, it could also be something to do with this. And when you're changing your strut, you might also want to change out your top hat. But either way, if you're doing both of those things, if you're replacing everything you can except for the spring, you guys are going to save a boatload of money compared to replacing the entire assembly. It will take more time, but if you come to Ant's Community Garage or a DIY shop like ours, we've got the tools, so it won't be as crazy. So anyway, thanks again, guys. We're a pretty new channel, so please like, please subscribe, help the algorithm figure out that we're here. And our little DIY shop here in Seattle and Everett will hopefully continue to grow and thrive with your help. I appreciate you all and look forward to more how-to videos and a little bit of tool exposition. Exposition? I don't know. I'm going to show you guys my tools and how I use them. So anyway, we'll see you around, guys. Thanks again.